Well, Jess from Clemson was feeling lugubrious. They go to Chapel Hill, and they had fans leaving before halftime, 38-10. Of course, a lot of focus on the fact that it was Dabo Swinney against Bill Belichick. 8 Super Bowl rings in total between his time as a head coach and defensive coordinator. What are you seeing that's dreadfully missing from North Carolina? Right?
Something important in this matchup between these head coaches, like the Sermon Slayer against the Sugar Daddy. There's one team that believes in their head coach, and there's another team that doesn't. And I think it's that simple. Clemson has certainly underperformed this year, right? I had them in the national championship game, as I'm sure a lot of people did around the country, including sitting at this desk. But they responded to Dabo. They believe he's all about culture. This North Carolina team, it takes zero talent to give effort. There's things that you're watching with the naked eye on television that you can see, which means the film's even worse, that just aren't there. And that is a reflection of one person and one person only, and that's Bill Belichick.
It has been interesting to watch the entirety of his tenure there in Chapel Hill because it came with such fanfare. And we kind of assumed he actually said he was going to build the 33rd NFL team. Right? He was going to do it exactly as he had done it at the Patriots, and yet he has done everything exactly opposite of the Patriots when it comes to distractions. The distractions have been plentiful and mostly caused by him, right? With all the attention on a book deal, whether it be his personal relationships, it just has been a distraction. And the other thing that they did was they gave him the keys to the castle with respect to finances to go out and get a roster. They're paying him handsomely. They're paying his coaching staff handsomely. His general manager came with him from the NFL. So they did all this evaluation themselves. And when you watch that product on the field, it looks as if they got stuck with this hand. And in today's day of college football, you're not stuck with anything if you have the resources. Right. And clearly, they have the resources.
Well, you asked what's missing, and he hit one of the points. What's missing is effort, which is strange considering it's Bill Belichick and the way guys played for him, and there's a reason he has more rings than Saturn. What also is missing is talent, though. And this guy runs complex schemes and concepts. And, yes, as we've discussed with Matt Patricia, you pare some of that stuff down and you go in with a base scheme, and then you add as you grow. He's got to get his guys in there. But I agree 100% with the distractions. This is born of him and his personal life. And that's why now, with this team playing as poorly as they are, everyone is going to get their shots in. But clearly this football team needs help and it needs some upgrade in certain positions. Only one thing you can control all the time, and that's your effort. And if you don't want to play for Bill Belichick, I bet you want to play for someone else. So you need to understand, if you're in that locker room, other people are viewing this film. And what you put on that film, essentially, you're saying, this is who I am as a player. So if you don't want to be there, I'm sure you'd rather go somewhere else. Well, you better prove it by playing this season out.
So are we even looking at a fix as this season goes on, or are we thinking that he needs to have another whole transfer cycle round and get a better showing next year?
No matter how far down the wrong road you've gone, turn around. This thing started out bad. It's going bad. Bill Belichick is arguably the best coach we've ever seen in the NFL. That run and dynasty that they had is unquestioned. But the basis of that was do your job. Make the main thing the main thing. And to Rick's point, he's done the opposite. It's a tragic sideshow what's taken place down there. Like, how many times did you have your wife on the sideline and come and give you kisses and take pictures and oversee your interviews?
Not nearly enough.
That's actually the number one answer. That's actually the number one answer on the board. Let's look at the highlights.
She may be watching.
It's all about family for Rick this week. Okay, look, Dabo Swinney, multiple national championships. And, of course, it was the first time since it was like Paterno against Bill Walsh that you had a coach with multiple national championships against the coach with multiple Super Bowl titles. First play from scrimmage, they pulled their defense, and you're starting to see some of that effort, BJ, that you were talking about there on the defensive
Yeah, well,
side.
Garrett Riley, here's a guy that has a lot
of fire, too. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going, Rick. So he's just pulling out all the stops with that play, Antonio Williams to T.J. Moore. So they were hoping for an explosion on the offensive side of the ball, and they received it. I mean, wide open here, missed tackle.
He had a chance to miss him twice.
Well, he got up. At least he got up and appeared to run after him. So I'd like to see that. But these guys are wide open. They're not understanding what's being asked for them, and they're overmatched.
There are X's and O's, but then there are Jimmies and Joes.
Yes.
And right now, these Jimmies and Joes wearing the Carolina blue are not nearly good enough to be playing for an ACC championship. And this is what the expectation was at North Carolina, and they're so disenchanted, they're leaving the building.
Who had those expectations with a new coach coming in? I don't care if it's
By
Bill
the name of
Belichick
Bill
or anyone else.
Belichick.
No.
But we see it at Indiana, right? Like you can do it
Well, that was
to some extent in one.
Well, but Bill Belichick wasn't bringing half of the Patriots roster with him.
No, that you cannot do.
Right. That's what Kurt Signetti did. He took a winning program, or half the roster from a winning program at JMU, and he upgraded what Indiana had at hand.
So
or on
there
hand, I
was
should say.
Some more familiarity, but you didn't expect fans to be leaving before the first half was over.
I had no expectations for Bill Belichick other than here's a guy taking on a new role, and I had the position of wait and see. And what I've seen is not good, but I didn't think they were going to come in and have a chance of contending for the ACC.
Mac Brown took this team to a bowl game last year. When he left, there were a couple of guys' defections, but then they went out with resources and tried to restock the roster. The expectation with their schedule, which was rather light given the other ACC schedules, the expectation was they'd win at least 6 or 7, get to bowl eligibility, and then have an opportunity to rebuild for the following year. All of that for the following year is still on the table, to your point, Brian. But when you're looking at this,
Man, I don't like
and
that
the
next
way
game.
the way they play right now, it looks uninspired.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering if this coaching staff is saying, we got to get rid of these guys and go get some new ones. But this is who you're left with. And I would love to hear a Bill Belichick halftime speech that gives these guys some hope, like we saw with UCLA's Tim Skipper, giving those guys some hope.
There was some confidence that you would hear from Belichick in the NFL when he was talking from the podium, almost dismissive because he had a plan. That's gone. He's a shell of himself. Take a look at these numbers. The offense has been horrible. Max Johnson completed 62% of his balls today, threw for over 200 yards, no picks, no touchdowns, but it was 5 yards per attempt. They're listless. So I'll say this, man, like when Charlie Weiss came to Notre Dame, he was going to bring that schematic advantage. There seems to be an arrogance that because I did this over here, I'm going to come in college and do that here. And we are learning and watching in real time. These are different animals.
Right. He literally told me, Charlie Weiss, after I ran into him at a Super Bowl party, he said, I'm playing chess, they're playing checkers. And I went to my wife. By the way, honey, you can be on the sideline whenever you want. I went to my wife. I said, Timber, this is not going to last because there's so many schemes in college football. You have got to stay on the cutting edge, and to think that you're just smarter than everybody else.
Right.
Don't forget about those Jimmies and Joes, because they're not playing very well wearing Carolina blue.
Dabo says checkmate.